All right, what up? All right, my bad. I
Oh,
know I
you're all
was
right.
kind of hurting you there because I was not on at all. It's been a long day already, man. How are you doing?
I'm doing all right.
You got that stash rocking, dude. You're looking
Yeah,
good.
I do.
Looking good. Oh, the doggy. Who's
Yeah,
this?
he gonna be taking this with us today.
Who is what's his name?
That's Rocco.
Rocco. How long have you had him?
Yeah. Oh, he's almost 3. Got him at 8 weeks.
Oh, nice. So you've had him for this whole time you've been in the FFFL almost.
Oh yeah. Yeah.
What kind of dog looks like a healer of some
He
kind.
is, yeah, red healer. Yeah, he's kind of
Nice.
crazy. So yeah, we're gonna have
Nice. Well, Tage, come on in. So Tage wants to obviously say hi and holler for the podcast.
to. Hi.
Want to say hi to Kyle?
Hi.
How are you doing?
Good.
Come here. Come
Yeah.
here.
What's
Look, I got
what
a dog. Come
you
here.
see him?
Say hi.
His name's Rocco.
Hi.
Hi, Rocco. Oh, what a cutie that dog is. I love it. How big is the dog?
He's about 60 pounds.
Oh, he's a good size. So that's like the size of our dog. Jack, he's like a little over 60, 65, but he's kind of a leaner pitty. It's a little taller, but he's like more thicker and stout. Like,
Oh
is he?
yeah, he's built like a barrel.
Yeah. So does he now? What are some characteristics of a healer for some of us that don't know dogs as well?
They're a whole handful.
Well, they're a handful. Like,
Yeah, energetic.
dog wise.
He's ready to go 24/7. I mean, he got about 10 minutes of sitting down and he's ready to go outside or follow you around the house, trip you, and just walking between your legs the whole time. He's involved with everything.
So he really is trying to herd you. Is
Yeah, no, absolutely. I don't have any cattle or any livestock, so I am cattle and livestock.
so are you pretty active with him? Like, do you find that you have to be really responsible with the dog to like get him out and about a lot?
Well, yeah, you have to get him tired or he's not going to leave you alone. So yeah, I mean he's home during the day while I'm at work, and I'm hoping that's going to change soon. We were kind of in the construction phase, and I couldn't have him there with me. But after that, I mean, yeah, I come home and he's been charging all day, resting, ready to go. So I mean,
Yeah.
what are you going to walking? I got one of them plastic, look like a kickball. It's a herding ball.
Yeah.
You can put water in it. Hell, it weighs probably 10 pounds. And I just throw it across the yard and he'll herd it and bring it back to me and just try to tire him out.
So do you have a house? Because you've moved recently, right? Did you
I'm
move?
in a yeah, I'm in a duplex now. I moved in May,
Okay.
a duplex in a little town. I just started a new job in May.
Are you in Texas still?
Yep.
Okay. But you were talking about construction. Like, are you thinking you could take them with you somewhere for work?
Oh, well, to I got out of wind and I'm in solar now, and I had showed up at the time they were still building the solar farm. So that's since ended, but we're still kind of in the turnover phase right now. But we're all in our office building and stuff, so just need to kind of wait for everyone who's not going to be staying around to leave and stuff, and us to kind of get in the schedule, and then he'll be coming with me every day.
Oh, that's pretty cool to be able to have
Yeah,
your dog with you while you work and stuff.
yeah, better than sitting at home. So
Well, yeah, definitely. And if he is that active and doing things, then like he's able to, and it sounds like he wants to be by you, so it's easy to
mhm.
do that. So, oh, Tay's getting called. You want to say bye, everybody?
Bye.
Thank you, Tage. Love you, girl. No, that's cool. Oh, okay, she's good. But dude, I appreciate you being patient with me. You're also a part of the first cold opening I'm doing, so I press record as you were getting on. You probably, I don't know, does it make a sound for you to tell you that we're recording?
I don't know if it made a sound. It just told me. I was like, yeah, we're jumping right into it. Let's
Oh yeah,
go.
man, I want to try it out because I feel like we have. So I was trying to do it before you got on, so you wouldn't do it. But one of the things that is actually kind of cool for those of you who hop on, but I feel like we had the best conversations in the very beginning, and then it feels more scripted once I hit record. So I was like, you know what? Like I think people miss out on some of these cool things that we talk about beforehand and how like it flows like a family, right? Like at the end of the day, this is a family league and it's about family. It's about kind of knowing each other better. So I was giving you're the first one to give it a shot. So others that know just know when you hop on, I'm gonna be hitting record before you
That's all
hop in.
right. It's only been a handful of times I've actually talked to you, Greg. So this is fun.
Yeah, I appreciate it, man. You're really knowledgeable, and I appreciate you hopping on here with us. And you've been patient with me because we were trying to start like shoot almost 20, 25 minutes ago. But I have a new job. I'm gonna kind of I'm still a baker, and I'm learning a lot like from scratch, like literally everything from complete scratch almost. I mean, we might have like an apricot glaze or something that we don't make, but it's everything else is truly from bottom up and from scratch. But one of the goals for me is to also work the front to be able to do both. And so we just had a meeting like later on because we have like a good amount of high schoolers that work the front. So she had a meeting at like 4 o'clock from 4 to 5, and I was needed to go to that because it was kind of learning some of those things and she wanted me there. So that's why I didn't get to prepare like I normally do. And then the stuff that I did today, that especially when it comes to our sponsor, I'm not the best with like technology and able to make. So it's like a lot of the photos that come in, it's just a straight photo that I got, so it's easy. But the one today, I had to like crop and like cut and to do other stuff to try to make it work, and it's still so cheap and chintzy and dumb, doesn't work. But I can't do it because I don't know how to make it real nice.
I'm right there with you. Yeah, I couldn't do it for save my life.
I should probably get like the AI, the AI shit to like say, hey, I need this person with these kinds of things and like make it happen. And it'll
Yeah, no,
come in.
that would work. I'm sure everyone uses it for that, but yeah,
I don't know if I'll ever use AI. I honestly don't. I don't know if I'll
don't
ever.
trust it.
I mean, partly, yeah. I think it is kind of scary. I think you have to question everything now. Like now you
Oh
can't
yeah,
just like
absolutely.
see something and not question it. What's one of the crazier things that you've seen that is AI that you've known is, but you were like, if I didn't know that was AI, I would have thought that was legit. What's like, can you think of one off the top of your head?
Oh, with AI. No, I mean, there's a lot of stuff going on. I mean, you can do anything with pictures and make these crazy pictures and stuff. It's I don't even know. I don't really follow it though. I don't really care for it. But
I get sent it on my phone. That's the reason I even know of anything. And one that was just sent, maybe I'll try to send it to you, Kyle. But it's the dude that is on SNL, Keenan, the Keenan guy, the black guy, like I don't know what his last name. I think his name is Keenan. He used to do like the burger thing back in the day, like with another guy. I don't know. Some of you might know it, but he's doing like a food. It's like him like in a car doing like a legit food, but it's obviously not him. It's AI created, and it's this weird chicken sandwich that's covered in fruity pebbles, and like he's eating it, but like giving a review. I'm like, dude, that's like how amazing this stuff is now, and how crazy out there it is that they can create all this stuff with his actual voice. It sounded just like him, like doing this review. Like if you didn't know that was AI, you might get confused and think, is this an actual sandwich? And is he giving a review for this weird like sandwich thing? I don't know. It's crazy. I hate it. They're taking over, man. The robots are taking over, Kyle. It's gonna be bad. Oh, but we'll hop into it. I don't think people care about my AI takes anymore. So we'll hop into what we're here for ultimately, Kyle. Are you ready to rock and roll?
absolutely.
Beautiful. All right, so I'm gonna do like I always do, man. I'm gonna share my screen. Make sure the sound is on so you can hear Dr. Sam when he comes on. And then get my PowerPoint rolling, man. Let's do this, baby.
So
All right, because this is the week 7 recap, just like we always do. We'll hit up what this past week matchups were and how they went. Oddly, like this is like a weird, like low scoring week in general. Like some teams did well, including yourself. You actually had a decent week compared to like what others would be. But overall, like lower scoring this week. I don't know.
yeah, it was definitely a weird week. Yeah,
Yeah.
people I got that didn't really do too much, and it,
Yeah.
it was weird. But I mean, that's football for you. I can't say there's never been a weird week, so it's just another
Right.
week of football, really.
And that's true. And there are a lot of injuries that happen. So I'm curious about the injury report that's going to come after those matchups to hear more detail of. guys that might be done for the season, including a guy that we follow every week. See how he's doing. But then we have after that injury report from Dr. Sam, we'll hit up those waiver wire what to dos. Then Trade Central, we had a trade go through. I kind of want to talk through it because I was involved in the trade, but it's a trade style that I've never done before because it technically impacted multiple weeks in a sense, or it was a trade that was over in a sense 2 weeks, but we'll talk about that. Then get into Javante or Godwin. Is that going to continue on? We'll see. Comment of the week, and lastly, we'll find out what's coming up this week and if we can ever actually say what's going to happen in the upcoming matchups and how those will roll. So let's get right to it, man. We had only one ass whooping this week, and I think it was one where last week we said he was an underdog. We said Tyler was an underdog in this, and Zach probably had it, but it went the other way, man. How do you have any like thoughts, or what's one takeaway that you have as to why it went Tyler's way instead of Zach's way?
Well, you can't rely on Josh Allen. That's my go-to guy. And I've been doing that. And he took Josh Allen. I knew he would. I seen he changed his name before the draft. I
Yeah.
said, "Law of Allenomics, huh?" I said, "I hope it's not my Josh Allen." But yeah, he was gone. And I think like the sixth or seventh round too, gone off the table.
Oh,
I
I
was
think it
like,
was
"Dang."
earlier than that. It's probably sooner than
Yeah,
that.
I
Probably.
was trying to slow roll at this draft. And like maybe I'm going to focus on these skill positions before I go in there and take Josh Allen first round. And then he was
Yeah.
gone. So
But he was the only one that scored well for him, in
yeah,
all honesty.
you can't rely on him though to carry the team. I've been
That's
doing that for 2 years. It don't work
oh,
very well.
dude, I did it last year as well, and you're right. Like I got third, I think, but he has never seemed to like carry me to a championship when I've had him.
Hmm.
So I can feel you there. For me, it
Yeah.
was the defenses. Look, like that's what really separated it. You had the Jets that cost him 5 points. I mean,
Yep.
probably the lowest score of any defense so far this year. And then the Denver Broncos continue to play great defense. They obviously had a wonderful matchup against Spencer Rattler with the
Yeah.
New Orleans Saints, but that's a difference of 26 points. And ultimately, he ends up losing by like 33 points. But that was like the main difference and why he got his ass whooped this week. Because Russell Wilson, I guess, is a good quarterback. I don't know. Maybe. Maybe. We'll talk through that. But yes,
Yeah.
Tyler put an ass whooping on Zach, and it was almost like Zach lost it more than maybe Tyler won it. But again, low scoring week for a lot of people. So kind of a tough one. But
Yep.
nice job. Nice job, Tyler. All right, next up, barely not an ass whooping. I think we had one or two of these, but I ended up barely not whooping Casey's ass, even though it was. What did you see in this one that separated it?
Detroit, they're on fire. They're doing pretty good. Yeah, Gibbs and Goff coming off that perfect game, 2 weeks ago. I
Yep,
mean, Detroit's doing good. So you got anyone from Detroit? I mean, you're pretty set up because they're on fire. But
they are,
yeah, I mean,
man.
that's the highest scorer for you. Other than that, Kyler Murray, he's actually been doing pretty well.
Another
So
guy up and down though right now is Kyler. It's he either I feel like he's either around that like 14, 15 mark, or he's up near that 30 mark. That just seems to be where he's at, and I can
that's
really
pretty good for a
hurt
quarter
me.
compared to my team. How I don't
Dak.
know.
We won't
I'm
get
gonna
into
drop
Dak.
Dak. You got me. Yeah, we were having a shootout until Dak came out and got me 3 points last week. So
Yeah, man, that was rough. That was rough. Because you had a close match, and then that's kind of how you got your ass whooped was because Dak lost it. I think that
yeah.
was it, right? That was like the quarterback play, and the same similar thing here. Unfortunately, Daniels got hurt first drive of that game. Otherwise, this is a completely different matchup,
Mhm.
and Daniels has been just I mean, he had a projection of 30 and a half. If he hits that projection, we're neck and neck, and it's truly like it would truly be a tough matchup. But you're right. Gibbs goes off for like I think over 160 total yards plus two touchdowns. I mean that's huge. And then him losing Jaden Daniels so early in that matchup just really killed his team at that point. So probably more of a loss than a win on it, from his angle with that. But I will be happy to escape with the W this week,
It's
Kyle.
always
I'll
good.
take it.
Yep.
Yep, I will take it. Next up was you, man. Again, I think you put up a good point total, but you ran up against the highest total of the week, Bob. Congrats to you, bud. You know,
Yeah,
and that was
congratulations.
you last week. Same
That's two in
thing
a row now.
last.
You guys can cool it off with getting the high score of the week. All right, give me a shot here.
That's true, man. 2 weeks in a row of getting the high
Yeah,
point of the. Well, hold on. Did your dad do it too? Because I think he had a pretty good score the week prior.
he might have. I don't know if he did.
No, he didn't have high point of the week in week 5 because that's when you played him.
Yeah,
Was
I
week
know 6 and
5,
7
but
though. Yeah,
he
yeah.
had a really high score. I remember. I think he was like second or third on the week. So you keep kind of running up against these guys, man. What happened in this one? Like, what had you sweating a bit?
Well, watching Tank Dell come out, I mean, Houston, they came out and got whooped, and Tank Dell, he was my golden egg last season, being a rookie and stuff. He was fantastic, and then this season, I mean, yeah, they got Diggs over there, but he didn't do jack last week either.
Nope.
So I was kind of hoping somebody would get it, but
With Nico Collins is out. I have Nico, and he's been out. I think this was his
yeah,
second week
so
out, maybe like I think out. So you'd think, yeah, Tank Dell's going to get more opportunity. He did just barely miss a touchdown. I saw he like had a potential touchdown, but he was going to be out of the end zone anyway. So that's kind of
yeah.
tough.
And another
But
one, I mean, Smith, I I didn't want to play him, but I also didn't want to play Lazard more because he's such a
yeah,
hit and miss. And I was like, I'll take Smith, but I should have known going against the Giants. All you got to do is run. And now that they have Saquon, they
yep.
didn't need to pass the ball at all. But I was kind of hoping to, at least first touchdown or second touchdown or something would be to Smith and at least get some points on the board, But
Well, and you're trying to offset him having Jalen Hurts and Saquon because if that game goes slightly differently, you can hopefully
exactly,
steal
at
some
least
of those points.
tag off of it. But AJ Brown's back, so it happened the worst way possible is Hurts threw it to Brown the whole game, and I didn't get anything
Yeah.
in that
And you're right.
exchange.
Once they got up, they didn't they just kind of ran the ball. And I was is Thibodeau back for the Giants? I don't know if he's healthy or not because he's such an important player for the Giants defensive line that if he's not back, they don't have much of as good of a pass rush and they can't stop the run as well. So
Oh, well, I tell you, I haven't watched the Giants playing. If I'd go out and watch the grass instead of watching them
yeah,
play.
right. Watch the grass grow. I like that. But Jalen Hurts only had like 140 yards passing. I mean, he
Hmm.
didn't he didn't have a whole lot going there. And on that side, I mean, he still got like three total touchdowns though, I think, like within it, which is weird because he had some rushing touchdowns. But to your point, Saquon got
Hmm.
I think Saquon had one or two. So I don't know if Jalen passed him the ball and he took one to the house because I mean, look at it. I mean, Saquon and Mixon combined for almost like 63 and a half points. I mean, that's tough to handle, man.
Yeah.
Like
I
that,
mean,
that's a
hey,
tough one.
Henry and Walker they've been doing it for me.
Yep.
And this week, I mean, they still did great. I can't complain with how they did. I just totally lost out on a receiver and then my two receivers, my flex as well. I totally lost out. And I mean,
Yep.
it wouldn't been a bad week. I would have been, if they would have done what they were projected. I mean, I was still high 120s. So
Yeah,
that
you were
I couldn't be upset with that, but
no. You almost hit your projection. And if you actually look down the list, really it was your quarterbacks facing off and then your flex spots because he also had Jamison Williams who got point 1 point, right? So
yeah.
him and Tank Dell even out. Like if you literally go down, yeah, Saquon got 31, but Derrick Henry got almost 30. He was 29.7. Mixon gets 32, but Ken Walker gets 25. I mean, you're putting up against them. Shoot, DK gets 18. So does Justin Jefferson on your side. I mean, you know what I mean? Like you're battling in those
Yeah.
spots, but
There's no, even if I would, I mean, I had Ertz on the sideline. I could, if I would have played him at the flex, I still wouldn't have done it. But he
yeah,
also sat Andrews, who did
yeah,
great finally. He sat him and you didn't need him to win, but
right.
would have been a huge bonus too.
But Andrews, that might be a scary one where Bob might be switching over to him, and he seems to be starting to come on a little bit more and more. That was one that maybe others of us should have fucking taken advantage of and tried to look at, honestly. That's a tough one. But tough loss, man. Your team's doing well. Just know 2-5 does not mean you're out of it at all, dude. Like,
I'm not sweating. I'll hop on the waiver wire and be like, these guys ain't worth shit,
yep.
and I'll get right back off. I'm gonna stick with my guns here and hope these guys wake up, so
Again, a solid week, man. 112, especially this week. I mean, I think that put you in the top half of the league as far as scoring, so not a bad week for you. But Bob takes it home, and nice job getting high score of the week, Bob. All right, next up, this was the lowest scoring one this week, but I had that sucks Kyle last week because it did suck for you, but this week that sucks Glenn. I mean, we'll get into it when we talk about our trade, but part of that was Mike Evans as a part of it for him to be a part, like basically take on that flex spot for him this week was kind of a key to that trade. And Mike Evans got that early touchdown, caught a 25-yard touchdown pass, looking great. And then I didn't get to see the game because I was with Tage and helping put her down. So I don't know what happened in that Tampa Bay game early on to see when he got hurt. So I don't know if it was on that touchdown pass or if it was like later on. Oh, Rocco. Um, but that I was like, right. I text Glenn. I'm like, dude, he's helping you already, man. That's awesome. Like, I'm glad the trade could work out for both sides. And then Bob messages me not long after, like, dude, Evans already hurt. I'm like, no, there's no way he just traded for him and now he's hurt. That's crazy. Ugh. But that's why it sucks, Glenn, because I think he could have helped put him over the edge. I mean, 9 points in the first few minutes, probably 5, 10 minutes of that game. That means he's probably going for 25 to 30 potentially, and that's the separator.
yeah.
What else did you see that might have separated it?
I mean, A Chain, I've always kind of hoped he would do like he did last season, but and then
Yeah.
Hill. I mean, I don't even know what they're doing over in Miami, but yeah,
They get Tua back this week, is what they're talking about.
I yeah, I'd seen that too. His choice, his decision. So
Yeah, and that's where I go with it. Like I'm not gonna go to that because at the end of the day, man, like
yeah,
if it's a sport and a game that you love and it's your passion and it's what you do, I mean, I do not blame anybody for it because we're all giving outside perspectives into it, and if he wants to do that, that's his choice. So I don't go there with it, but it does help their offense obviously when he's there because if he's not there, they can't seem to do a damn thing. And so maybe this turns for him for next week. I hope it doesn't because I play him next week, but maybe they turn around. But you're right. Having Tyreek Hill, he has been hurting people this year because like how do you bench Tyreek Hill?
exactly.
But he's gonna hurt you. So Sam is lucky to escape with the W, only scoring 76 points. So
Well, what happened to the Saints too? They were on a roll, and Kamara
ugh.
like he's showing his age now or something. What
Well,
happened? Used up all the juice.
well, I wonder. Well, Denver's a really tough defense, so I do give that some credit. But to your point, like the first 2 weeks, New Orleans was hot, man. Like they were going well, and then just since then they have not. Obviously, Spencer Rattler is not an answer. I mean, I remember he came out of high school as a top recruit, goes to college, doesn't do as well, doesn't really meet that potential. But because that potential was there, he gets drafted. He might go to the Saints. You think he could do it? He's got some, skills. He's got talent. It just doesn't seem to have it between the ears. So
Yeah.
that's a tough one. And their defense isn't playing well. So that's the other tough part. Is like they've always
Yeah,
had good
they got
defense
shut
and they
down.
sucked.
Yep.
So against Denver, who's not a good offense.
Yeah,
So
I'll be getting rid of them. They're on my bench right now. That defense is they gotta go.
yeah, they gotta go. Get out of here. But way to escape with that W, Sam. And he goes to stays at 6-1 and atop the West, man. All right. Next up, started strong. Allison truly did start strong because Javante and Tank Bigsby were the first two players to play for her team. I guess Antonio Gibson was within that too, so that was unfortunate. I don't think she knew that Ramondre was back in her stuff, but Gibson gets hurt like right away in that first quarter. Again, her all injury team keeps getting injured, but she started
Yep.
out hot. I mean, 27 points from Javante on Thursday. Tank Bigsby the morning of Sunday gives her 31. Feeling good. And then what happened? What happened, Kyle?
I don't know. You never know. Same Amon Ross, there's Denver or not Denver, but Detroit. They're just going after it. I mean, 22
Yeah.
points from him, and then AJ Brown. Yeah, I mean, that's where all the points when I was looking for. So,
They did. They went AJ Brown's way.
which is that is to be expected. I mean, he's a good wide receiver, and he's been out. So, he comes back, and everyone always going to slow roll it. No, he came out firing. So,
He did, and the way that he sat out was weird too, because it felt very much like he just wasn't even trying to risk it at all. Like it's almost
mhm.
like he didn't want to push himself at all with the hamstring and whatnot. So definitely very odd. But EJ, if you look at it, every single spot on his roster was in double digits. So every spot was in double digits. So it's tough to lose when everybody's scoring at least 10 plus on your team. And for Allison, no, honesty, I mean, Javante with 27 and a half, Tank with 31, George Pickens 20 and a half, Brock Purdy almost hit 20. So he had a lot, but Neighbors down, Kincaid down, and Gibson, she may have made a different choice had she known that Ramondre was playing too and wasn't going to get that. But again, he was actually getting run in the beginning. I think they would have gone with Gibson if he was healthy because I wonder
Yeah.
what
I
I
mean,
can't remember.
I tried it with him in week 5. I really did. I tried
Yeah,
offsetting it against my dad. I played Gibson and it didn't really go my way, but he was coming off of almost like split weeks. I mean, he was getting
yeah,
over 33% of the shares and he was doing all right. And then yeah, I decided to play him because Stevenson was fumbling
yep,
every game. He'd have at least one fumble, and I was like, "This is it. He's gonna get his time to shine."
yep.
No, so
And he got hurt. And I think if he doesn't get hurt, he would have played because if you watch that game, which I did, Jamichael Hasty got a lot more run than Ramondre, and Ramondre wasn't hurt. Well, he
mhm.
came in kind of hurt, so I don't know if they were holding him back. But at the time, the game was close, so it was interesting as to why Ramondre wasn't getting back on the field. And I was telling, and we'll move on after this comment, but I was telling Allison about it because she was, her and Tage had gone to go support a friend who was doing a half marathon. So I think it's why she didn't understand that, with the Gibson thing. But I was telling her at one point, if you actually watch the early part of that game, Ramondre gets some run and then it ends up being like a third down and they're like on like the 15-yard line, kind of getting ready to score. And they bring Ramondre off and it's third down. And Gibson is now hurt. Gibson's already hurt at that point. Well, there's a moment where they're showing just Gerard Mayo and he just gives like Ramondre and him like there's obviously something said by Ramondre because you see Ramondre running by and Mayo just like staring him down and like just gives him this disgusting look. And at that point I knew I was like Ramondre's not going to see the field much after this. And it wasn't. It just became Jermichael Hasty for probably from that point on. It felt like 2 out of 3 snaps was Jermichael Hasty. So I don't know what's going on there, but even Ramondre might not be a great one at this point. But we'll move on. The tough part for Allison, 116. I think she had like third highest on the week, third
Mhm.
highest point total, but she still lost and is now 0-7. Or no, she had fourth because I think Louis in the next matchup we'll see and more, but still fourth highest and still couldn't squeak out a W. That sucks, Allison. I'm sorry. Ugh. But let's get into the final one. I mean, Andy's buying lunch from what I hear. I hear Andy's buying lunch now. Another pretty good matchup came down to the final night. What separated it, man?
I mean, it looks really. I love how they had that quarterback matchup. So it was really was a shoot off in
Yeah,
live time too. I mean, Mayfield he's been kind of on fire. I mean, he's kind of almost got Tampa Bay figured out, and that's the second time now they've kind of fallen short. But Lamar, I mean, the Ravens are doing really good, and
yeah.
I
Lamar,
like watching the Ravens, and I like watching Detroit as well. So, and
yeah.
those two did pretty well. I mean, Kareem Hunt, I don't even. I'm gonna tell you, I don't even watch the Chiefs football anymore. It's so damn. It's just,
Boring.
yeah, it's boring. It's like a Taylor Swift channel. I don't even watch the Chiefs play, and it's just there's so many penalties in them Chiefs games. A lot of I don't
Yep,
even watch them play. But
yep.
Hunt, I haven't really even been following him. He looks like he did very well, but.
He's getting the run now, but I think once Pacheco is back, I mean, I think that just becomes this weird nebulous backfield. I don't even know that Pacheco takes it over. I think it becomes like Kareem Hunt gets 40%, Pacheco gets 40%, and I bet you Clyde Edwards-Helaire squeaks in there for 20% and get
Mhm.
more of the passing work and stuff like that. You know how they are, man. They like to rotate through all their guys.
Exactly. I have chosen to stay away from all Chiefs players. I already played the game with Smith Schuster and Marcus Valdez Scantling and Edwards
Yeah.
Lair, all the people with multiple names. I've played the game with them and they never get me much. So I've chosen to stay away from all of them.
But I will say Kate Otten looked good, dude. And like if you watch the game, like he legit looks good. I mean, he's grabbing everything. And Mayfield was hanging him out to dry constantly. How many
Mm.
balls did you see Otten fully stretched out for or going over the middle for, and he's getting nailed? I mean,
Yep.
Mayfield gets 35, but so I have in a dynasty league, I have it's a super flex. I have Lamar Jackson and Baker Mayfield. We have Lamar, Baker, and Jordan Love. Um, and we chose to go with Lamar and Baker because they're in the same game, so it'll be a shootout. But dude, I threw until like the fourth quarter, Baker looked like shit. I mean, it was not going well. Their team was, I mean, it just was not going well. And he's kind of forced to get that 30. He gets 35, which is a crazy number. I mean, it's probably second highest on the week, but it was just garbage time stuff that he just kept throwing and throwing, and he had to. That was like the
Mhm.
only reason. Whereas for the for Baltimore, it just kind of felt more like, you know what, we're just going to keep running up. We're just going to keep doing this. Did you see at one point? I'm sorry, I know it's supposed to be shorter, but at one point they had a third and goal on like the 38-yard line. Did you see that?
I didn't see that play. No.
They got three penalties in a row that must have been holding calls that are 10-yard penalties, and they eventually were on the 38-yard line at third and goal. Like it was so crazy, such a crazy, and they ended up throwing. I want to say it was, yeah, it was over the middle to Nelson Aguilar for like a 30-yard play on that play itself, and like somehow the sea just parted and Aguilar goes in there because Tampa Bay nickel corner didn't play it right, but yeah, it was a crazy that was a crazy game, but it was fun to watch, but it was crazy, but yeah, now Andy, I think they made a bet after what I said last week of hey, the workplace going to be like this, but now Andy owes lunch from what I hear. So I'd love to hear how that goes and maybe where you get lunch from. We're always up for that. But that wraps up this week's matchups. Nice job to those who got some W's. Hurts for those who lost, but there's always next week, and we are now halfway through the season, the regular
Yep.
season of the FFFL. So nice job to everybody. Stay the course, everybody. Nobody's completely out of it yet. But as you know, Kyle, we got bills to pay. I gotta be able to pay Dr. Sam his bills. All right. So in order to do that, I gotta get some pretty nice sponsors. And this week I think we got a pretty good one. It is the Panther King. So Glenn moved to North Carolina to pursue his love for big cats and specifically panthers, which is why he is now known across the land as Panther King.
Yep.
He wants it to be known that he is a step up from the Tiger King. He doesn't hire meth heads, he hires pot heads. He doesn't feed his Panthers and staff expired Walmart meat. He gets his expired meat from Target. He would never burn down his headquarters to get rid of his records. He will burn down Panther Stadium to get rid of their fucking record. Although Carol Baskin's crazy ass is trying to shut him down, that murderous bitch will never keep him down. So come visit the Panther King the next time you're in the Carolinas. It's sure to be a roaring good time.
Yum, yum,
Oh,
yum.
meow meow. Nice job. Thank you, Glenn. We appreciate the sponsorship, and this guy right here appreciates it more. So, Kyle, I think we got to find out from with how there was a lot this week, man. So I don't even know how long this injury report is. I haven't listened to it. I don't normally listen to it beforehand, anyways. But all right, 2.5 minutes. So it's not too bad. He's had some longer ones before, but my lord, were there some season enders. Like I don't know if I've known of more season ending injuries. So let's hear about them.
All right, NFL Week 7 injury update. Tyler Huntley, quarterback for the Finns, left the game with a shoulder injury. Unclear of kind of how bad it is right now. But it does look like Tua is available to come off the IR and play as soon as this week. Deshaun Watson, quarterback for Cleveland, tore his Achilles, so he will be out until next season. Backup quarterback Dorian Thompson-Robinson for Cleveland also has a finger injury. Seems like he's day-to-day while they're figuring out if he can grip a football or not. Aiden O'Connell, the Vegas quarterback, has a broken thumb, will likely be placed on injured reserve, which means Gardner Minshew will be the backup unless they go get somebody. Debo Samuel, wide receiver for the 49ers, looks like it was just a sickness, should likely be back unless there's some type of complications with the pneumonia. Chris Godwin, wide receiver for the Bucks, is out for the season with an ankle dislocation. Looks like he just underwent surgery. Mike Evans, wide receiver for the Bucks, had a hamstring injury last night. Not currently on injured reserve because they have a bye week, but he has a pretty big history of hamstring injuries. Jaden Daniels, quarterback for the Commanders, is currently week to week with a rib injury, likely looking like 1 to 2 weeks. I think they said he's probably going to be out for this week's game. Brandon Ayuk, wide receiver for the 49ers, is going to be out for the season with an MCL and ACL tear. DK Metcalf, wide receiver for Seattle, has a grade 1 MCL sprain, which is the lowest level of sprain. So he's likely going to be out 2 to 3 weeks unless they decide to throw him on IR, but I haven't seen anything yet. Juju Smith-Schuster, wide receiver for the Chiefs, looks like he had a hamstring reactivation, so probably 2 to 3 weeks. David Montgomery, running back for the Lions, looks like he just left the game with a bruise to the back of the knee, contusion, but came back in. And then looks like Devin Singletary should be able to return this week with no dip. Nico Collins probably slated to come back in week 10. Like I said earlier, Tua's off the IR. Travis Etienne, running back for the Jags, I think is slated to be able to play this week with the potential for a re-injury, also a dip in production. Puka Nacua should be available week 9, same thing with the injury. Chris Olave is available to play this week. Derek Carr potentially week 9, and then Jonathan Taylor week 8 with a potential dip in production.
Dude, great job on his part, by the way. That was a lot of info right
That
there.
was efficient too, yeah.
Dude, yeah, he did. He kind of rocked that out, didn't he? Yeah, like, but good job, Dr. Sam, honestly. He impresses me with a lot of that stuff. But he was on it this week. And as you heard, there's a lot. I mean, there's a lot there as far as it's unfortunate. Like Godwin, I think Godwin's the worst part about it was they even said like, why is he out there? There's like a minute left in the game.
Mhm.
Like that was it. Like there was like no time left. What is he doing out there at that point? Especially when Mike Evans already got hurt. Like that's your other top guy. Like otherwise, like yeah, what are you doing putting him out there for Ayuk? I saw that hit and he got smashed between two KC guys. He's out for the season. Deshaun Watson's going to get a rub down, like Andy said, so he'll be
Yep, we
probably
got a
fine.
lot of time for him too.
Yeah, so like he's out for the season. I could care less. He really wasn't helpful.
Jail. He's
Yeah, right.
always in the jail category on everything I say. All the rankings I send every week, he's in the jail category.
But yeah, a lot of that kind of stuff and a lot of just injuries and some and more re-aggravations. And he's right about like Mike Evans. That is funny. He like has that issue, and they were talking about how Alvin Kamara had that issue a lot, and Christian Watson's had that issue a lot, and so they've like talk about like imbalance in like the hamstrings or some weird
Mm.
stuff. I wonder if Mike Evans has that, and he's just now too old to do anything about it. But it's
Yep.
unfortunate because he's a good receiver, and I just traded him away to Glenn, and I feel bad about that. But that's the nature of the beast, right? Like that gets tough. But really nice job, Sam. And thank you for bringing that because I've been bringing the sponsors, so it's glad that Sam's really making his money right now. So good shit. All right, well, let's find out what the hell we do about it, Kyle. Just like always, we're going to start with the quarterbacks. At the top of the list, you see the guy, but Glenn also dropped Anthony Richardson within that trade. He just hasn't been performing well. But I just want to make a note of that because while he is on this list, he is not available till Thursday. So if you're putting in a waiver claim for Anthony Richardson, just know It does not come tomorrow morning. It would come Thursday morning. So I just wanted to highlight that. Anybody on this list that you might be interested in if you were in need of a quarterback?
If I was in need of a quarterback, well, I think Jameis Winston is my favorite guy on that list. He's not the best, but he might be my favorite guy on the list. But seeing as how I think Tomlin said today that Russell Wilson's starting, I mean, he might be the go-to guy. Sam had just said Minshew might be starting too. I already dropped Stafford, so I definitely wouldn't be him. Um,
Uh-uh.
yeah,
He didn't
other
look
than
good
that,
either. He sucked. He sucked
no, he's
again.
doing terrible. He's getting Puka back, but oh well.
And
You
that's
know,
true. He gets cut back hopefully this week and then Puka the
yeah,
following week, maybe. But even
he
before
didn't
then,
really
it
do
wasn't
too
going
much when he
great.
had him too. I mean, he
Right.
kind of my bet Dak was outscoring him when I had him, so I
Yeah.
have absolutely no need for him. But out of that, there's not too many of them on there that I'd care to have.
I'd tell you Drake May because I've actually liked him. I think he's honestly for a rookie, to me, he's kind of impressed when I've watched him. He looked good. However, he's facing some tough matchups. The Jets have not looked good and their defensive backfield's kind of depleted. So that's really what happened to them, against Russell Wilson too. But I mean, he's looked good. I just don't like his matchups coming up. And for like I said, Anthony Richardson, I won't be going for him. I'll say that. Like if you think he's doing it, I just don't think it's happening this year. He needs to get the reps. I get it. As a Colts fan, we don't have a team that's going to win a Super Bowl, so you got to keep running him out there. You got to get him experience. But I just don't. I think you're going to be so boom bust with him. He might throw in a boom game every once in a while because he gets loose on the ground. But God, does he look like the worst thrower of the football as a starting quarterback in the league? I mean, he just looks like the worst. He really does. So yeah, tough one. But I'm with you. I'd say like Russell Wilson, he looked decent. So you might want to go after him. And Jameis Winston, a gunslinger, and they're playing Baltimore where you're gonna have to throw. You just saw Baker Mayfield get 35, even though he looked like shit. He turned the ball over 2 or 3 times. He still got 35 points. So
Yeah, I
that'd
don't
be
know
a
if
good one.
Cleveland has the receivers to keep up with that, though. I mean,
True. But neither did the Bucks at that point. The Bucks had Godwin, but otherwise they were throwing to Jalen McMillan and Trey Palmer and Kate Otten. So you got Njoku, you got Jerry Judy, who's not. I think he's actually an okay receiver. He's not great, but he's okay. Cedric Tillman's kind of coming up, as well. So you're right, though. He doesn't have as good of a core there in Cleveland, but you never know, man. But that's kind of what you got. Stay away from Mason Rudolph. Stay away from those bottom guys. Stay away. Don't don't even worry about it. All right, let's go to the running backs. It is not good in the running back streets. I will just say that. I don't know what to
nope,
tell somebody. What do you say?
don't get Zeke. He
Yeah.
didn't do anything for me. And Dallas has no running game, and I think Zeke had the best chance to take it because he's pretty much the biggest dude, the only vet they had. He couldn't do it either. So
Nope. That's a guy who I think is I his brain is not where his body is, meaning and trust me, I'm kind of there now or I've been getting there the last few years and I know I'm older than him, but it's like even in softball, I'm like, dude, I'm now more realizing like my reaction time is slower and my ability to get to there is slower. So like I'm now 2 steps behind in that sense. And Zeke is in that same boat, man. I don't think his brain's quite there to recognize that he doesn't have it anymore. He's not going to be that dude. He was once that dude. I loved him in the early parts of his career, but just not there. But these guys are backups. I mean, that's what you're going for. I'd say if you're interested uh, in a backup or a guy might have a shot, I might take a shot at Kamani Vidal if you got like a J.K. Dobbins. He'd be the next guy up after that. The Chargers want to run. Emmanuel Wilson's the backup to Josh Jacobs right now, but I'm pretty sure their rookie comes back, Marshawn Lloyd. So Audric Estime just got back this week, but he fumbled right away. So maybe you got Javante, you might go for Audric Estime, but yeah, not this is gross. That's all I can say. This is
yeah,
this is gross stuff.
nothing to see
So
here.
nope, no starters to be found at this point. Check who's injured, check who you got that might be hurt, and you might need to get the backup for them, and then go from there. All right, let's move on because I don't want to look at oh shite. wide receivers. Maybe because of some injuries, we might have some guys that would be good to pick up. Anybody that you're kind of looking at as potentially a good pickup.
I mean, I've been kind of watching Bateman. He hasn't been doing too much, but I've been kind of hoping he would pick it up a little bit.
Looked good
Um,
last night. He's looked good as of late, man. I love that you said Bateman. Like
yeah.
he's looked good and looked like who the guy they wanted when they drafted him the past 3-4 weeks. So I like that idea.
Well, I
Uh,
mean, Shepard's on there too. I mean, if they just lost everybody, he might be worth a look.
Yep, the most veteran. He's usually better in a PPR format, as at least in the past he was, but a good slot receiver. And I agree, like Tampa Bay receivers, take your pick. I think McMillan is the rookie. He'd have the highest like upside there. So I'd probably go for Jalen McMillan there. And for San Francisco, they lost Ayuk. Debo has pneumonia, man. Like I don't know, pneumonia, unless that is, I don't know how quickly you get over pneumonia. I really don't. But even if he gets over it, like, is he going to be healthy enough to, like, get a bunch of reps? So I'd say I'd go after Ricky Pearsall. Like, the two rookies, Jalen McMillan, Ricky Pearsall, I'd go after those guys as well. Shoot, another rookie, Troy Franklin, starting to look better for Denver. Like, he's starting to get some run. And him and Bo Nix, they were college teammates together, so they might have a connection there too. But actually, a good amount, I'll be honest, of guys in the wide receiver room, even Cedric Tillman. I mentioned Cedric Tillman when we were talking about Jameis Winston, another guy who, because they got rid of Amari Cooper, Cedric Tillman now becomes like the number two wide receiver there, maybe number three, depending on how you view Elijah Moore. But that a lot of good options if you're in need of a receiver. And for those of you who have Ayuk, Godwin, aka Zach, I think he has both those guys, which hurt him this week. Of Godwin didn't really hurt him because the game was over when he got hurt, but Ayuk hurt him for not being there. But he's probably going to be wanting to look at wide receivers, and there's a good amount of them here. So take your pick, everybody. All right. Lastly, on the waiver wires, we do tight ends. Anybody here that you're interested in?
I was watching Conklin for a while. Um, I don't dislike him. I mean, I would if I needed a tight end, I would probably. I think I might have had him this season. If not, I've been
He's
looking at.
the he's like the horror of tight ends this year.
Yeah,
I think a
like
lot of
everyone
us
picks
have.
him up and lets him sit. They might
Yeah,
play him once and get rid of him when he
he's
doesn't.
a one nighter. He's a one night stand for a lot of
Yeah.
people this year. I should take a look at that. I wonder if I think I can take a look to see who all has had him because I know I don't remember if it's this league or if it's the other one, but I know Allison's had him at some point. I know Bob's had him at some point. I'm pretty sure I had him at some point when I think when McBride was out, I picked him up. Like you said, you had him at some point, so he really is getting some one night stands here. Oh my goodness. Yeah, other than him, like I mean, I think Taysom Hill because of that offense, like it's been a tough one for them, but they need a guy like him. So if he ever gets healthy again, that old man, if he gets
Yeah,
healthy
I mean,
again,
well,
he could be a guy.
he's a dual threat. So I mean, the way it seemed now how they fell off. I mean, I think they need to start figuring something out. I don't think he's been a big piece of it so far.
Yeah. So I would say I'd go after a Taysom Hill if you're in need of something because all the tight ends have mostly sucked. And so okay, he only gets you 4 points. Fine, that's what most of the tight ends are doing for you. But he also has, like you said, potential to get you like 20 points. I want a
Mhm.
guy like that in that spot. So I'll take a Taysom Hill for that reason. But yeah, not much going on in these tight end streets. I actually don't. They have Johnny at the top once Tua comes back, he doesn't throw the tight end much. That's just not how what he does. So if Tua comes back, I just don't like Johnu as much. Johnu actually did better when it was the other quarterbacks. So that's why I kind of leave him alone for that. But but yeah, that's the waiver wire for this week. Good luck everybody in trying to fill those gaps. All
Oh, we
right.
got outside. Yeah, I'm walking and talking now. Someone's got to go outside.
Oh, Rocco. That's good. You've been drinking some water, Rocco. You've been staying hydrated, bud.
Oh, absolutely. He always does.
Love it. So you said you're in a duplex.
Yep.
What does that mean? What is that different than a townhome?
No, it's really not. I think a townhome, I think you get a garage.
Oh, okay.
That might be the only thing I can think of off the top of my head.
So is a duplex like is that only a one story?
Yeah, yeah. Well, here in Tech, people don't even have basements here in Texas. But as a second story, I didn't really need that. So I guess I couldn't tell you if they do have them, but
But when you say duplex, like this is where my ignorance comes in. But when you say that, do you mean like you have a home side by side connected to another home and you're just like a single level home?
yes, yeah, it's a single level. I got this side of the house essentially, and they got the other side, but
Okay.
split
So
going
yeah, so
down.
very similar to a townhome, but townhomes are
Yeah.
usually stacked up. You've got multiple levels in a townhome, whereas in a duplex, it's a single level.
Okay.
Is that
Well, I
is
learned
that is that what
something
we're
new.
coming to? Is that what
Yeah,
is that?
let's run with it. Yeah, I'll start
Okay,
telling.
good, because I don't know. So hey, we somebody tell us we're wrong. Somebody tell us we're wrong. So Trade Central this week, big trade happened. Um, so I got CMC. I had to make once I felt like the game. Here's what I'll say: I was technically down 6 points, but I had three guys playing. I felt confident in it. So I brought it up to Glenn on Monday to see if he was still willing to trade CMC. And I didn't, and I just, floated out the idea of Chase Brown and Mike Evans for CMC, and he thought that was worthwhile. Chase Brown has become the lead back there. If you actually take out he's being patient with him was a great thing because take out the first few weeks, the last 4 weeks, Chase Brown has averaged 16 points a game in the last 4 weeks as he's taken over Cincinnati's backfield. And you can see it, like the delineation. Once week four hit, he was getting 15 plus touches a week, which has been nice, and their offense is doing well. So he I told Chase Brown and Mike Evans, he's boomer bust, but he's got 3 games of 20 points, and then 3 games where it hasn't been as great. But Glenn needed points now, so I floated out the idea, and he's like, "Man, I wish you would have like hit me up earlier, so I could have just like played them both this week and the likes." So then when he said that, I was like, okay, like I understand it. So this was the original trade, but I was like, well, if you want Mike Evans for this week, like why don't if you because he didn't know if McConkey was going to play because McConkey was questionable, and he didn't want to play Michael Wilson because he also has Marvin Harrison Jr. So he's like, I don't want to play. He probably doesn't want to play both the Arizona Cardinals receivers. So I just said, well, how about this? Like we'll just kind of do like a handshake agreement. I'll trade you Mike Evans now for Michael Wilson. That way we can just do a quick even swap. I can't just trade you nobody. I got to trade like I can't just trade you. And Christian McCaffrey's team had already played, so I couldn't trade him CMC for Mike Evans in that moment. But I was like, but I can trade you Mike Evans and Michael Wilson because they haven't played yet. So that goes through fine. So that's what so he's like, all right, cool. And then we'll do Chase Brown and McCaffrey tomorrow. So I literally put both trades in. So put the Mike Evans trade in for Michael Wilson just to get that part done. And then I put in the trade for CMC and Chase Brown. What is happening? So okay, well hold on. So then like he was basically like, "Well, hope he doesn't get injured." That's literally what he said. He's like, "Hope he doesn't get injured." And I'm like, well, but he's like, "I'm taking on the risk, so I get it." So that's how that all happened was like, and that's why I say I've never done a trade like this to where it impacted technically 2 weeks or was happening in 2 weeks. It just worked out because both of those players were playing Monday. I was like, I'm going to drop Michael Wilson anyways. I don't really care about him. I don't think. Um, so I didn't. He was just going to be a throwaway guy. But that's how that happened. So he ended up trading Michael Wilson and Mike Evans last night, and then Chase Brown, Chris McCaffrey came today. But just know this is what the actual trade was supposed to be. It wasn't supposed to be CMC and Michael Wilson for these two guys. It was supposed to be this as a one trade thing, and it just happened so that way. Um, Before we get your thoughts, Tage would like to say goodnight to the FFFL.
Can I say happy birthday to Glenn?
Yeah, do you want to sing happy birthday to Glenn? Kyle, do you want to sing happy birthday to Glenn with us?
Let's do it.
All right, a one, a two, a three. Happy
Happy
birthday to you. Happy birthday to you. Happy birthday,
birthday,
dear
meow
Angie.
meow.
Happy birthday to you. Woo! Nice
Yeah, there we
job,
go.
Tage. That was a great idea.
Yeah, it was
Yeah.
thoughtful.
Yeah, very much so. Nice job. Thank you. No. Are you going to bed?
Yeah.
Can I get a hug?
Good night, Glenn.
And good night,
Good.
Kyle.
Good night, Kyle.
It was Glenn's birthday, but all right, love you, girl. That was awesome. That was very thoughtful. That's cool. I liked it. What are your thoughts on the trade? And you got to be
I mean,
open
I
and
think it,
honest.
yeah, well, now that Evans is kind of out, it kind of
That
not as
ruins it. Evans getting
awesome
hurt
as it,
ruins it.
yeah, not as fair trade as it. I mean, but with McCaffrey too, I mean, you never know. He might come back and he might only go a game too. So he's always such a hit or miss,
I don't know if he's coming back. Like that's what like I realized like I hope he's coming back. I think he's coming back, but there's
I
been
think he will too. They definitely need him. I mean, at
yeah,
this point, they really need him to. It's not like if he comes back, it's hey, we're not saving you for the playoffs. We might not go if you don't start
yeah.
for us.
So
So
but he hasn't practiced at all. I don't know how it went in Germany when he went there to get things looked at. That's kind of scary. So I don't know. I have no idea what's happening with that man. I'm crossing my fingers, but yeah, it's you know, kind of like when Zach traded for Devontae Adams. It's like it's kind of a risk. Like we'll see if he comes back. If he comes back, I look at it as I'd have a three-headed monster that I think is kind of unmatched in Gibbs, Kyron, and CMC at that point. Like if I can roll those three guys out there, I feel really confident in that. Um, but we'll see. And I feel terrible because Mike Evans got hurt. I don't think if Mike Evans doesn't get hurt, I feel a lot better about the trade just because truly like Chase Brown has since week 4 has been like a top 12 or top 15 running back. And Mike Evans he was on his way, man. I mean, he already had 9 points in the first few minutes of that game. So
well, he showed that
definitely,
he's good for 1,000 yards a season. So
he's never not.
yeah, so he's always good to have. I mean, you don't have to start him every single week, but he's worth it to have at least have on the team when you need him.
Yeah. So we'll see. Hopefully he comes back healthy after the bye. I didn't realize he had a bye week this coming week, but hopefully he comes back healthy after that. That's what we'll hope for you, Glenn, because Glenn needs it, man. He needs some healthy players. He needs some diversity. And the worst part was even if he got him this week, Chase Brown got, I think, like 10 points this week. So he wouldn't have covered his gap. And Mike Evans actually did do better than both Michael Wilson and Lad McConkey. So even with just the one catch and being out after the first few minutes of the game, Mike Evans still did better than the other options that he had for this week. So just a tough one for Glenn right now. Second year in a row for that. Now we're getting Javante and Godwin. All right, I got to figure this one out because now Godwin's out for the year. And
Yeah, that made this so much simpler.
well, it did,
And
here's where I go with it. So last week I was like, you know what? Even if Godwin gets hurt, I'll do it. But to be honest, like I don't feel that way this week because Javante had a great game, and Godwin's game was basically done. So
mhm.
Javante had gotten 25-ish points or more. I think 27, whereas Godwin only had like I don't know, 10 or 12 points, something like that. Like it wasn't as good of a game for Godwin. So, and he played the whole game. So I kind of was like, well, Javante went up in average points. Godwin goes down. So Zach and I got to confer on this to see like what we want to do about it because we did say they got to each play 15 games. That was our stipulation. But Godwin was doing so well that I felt bad about like, yeah, but Godwin actually has played well, and Zach made the right call with him for this year. But Javante's 3 of the last 4 weeks has outperformed Godwin. So then you feel like, well, that's starting to pick up. So we got to do something to figure it out and see. It's all based on Javante now and kind of where that goes. Um, I don't know. We'll touch on it, Zach. We'll confer and see what we can come up with is to make sure we can get that $10 sorted out. So it's very important for that $10. But tough one for Godwin to go down, especially. But hopefully Javante can keep this up for Allison's sake. Shoot, she needs him. All right, comment of the week. I put it out there before on our text chain, Kyle. I thought that was hilarious when it
Yep,
said
I
Cutler
say
another
I saw
failed
that one.
drive. That was a good one. What did you think? Any other comments that you thought were pretty good?
Oh, not, I mean, not really in real time because I don't, I, every time I check the chat, I'll notice I have like 60 unread messages, and I'll go through it, and I'm like, I totally missed this entire conversation. So I don't get the real time effect of a lot of these, and how good the timing of them can be.
Yeah.
But no, it's hard for me to see one that's just out there, and to be able to judge how good they really are.
And that's true. I can understand that. I know I want to say like Andy threw one out that was pretty good too. And I always like that you share like that you share the power rankings. Like that could be the comment of the week every week because I
Are you
do
talking
enjoy that
to
you
Deshaun
yeah.
getting some more massages? Is that someone
Oh
had to say it? I mean, you knew someone, but that's the first thing everyone's thinking. You
yeah.
he used to go
That's what
harass
it and
massage
you're
parlors.
right. That's what it was because you yeah, exactly. Oh my gosh. And you know, they were talking about how the Cleveland fans reacted to that, you know, because they kind of like, in a sense, cheered it. Like, I don't know if they booed him or they cheered. Like, in a sense, they were like, they were just happy that he was out.
Mhm.
And I don't, while I don't like that because it was done via injury, it seemed like for them, it was more of there's finally like a legit reason that they can not have this man play. Because I don't think any of them wanted him to play anymore, but because of how much money they had put into it, like the coach was like steadfast that we're doing it, which made me feel very much like it wasn't the coach's call. Like I don't know if Stefanski even had the call. It felt very much like the owner told you, well, this is a man that we paid $240 million for, whatever it was, and so therefore you are going to play him. That's what it felt
Well, he's
like.
got more allegations than touchdowns this year, so I could care less if he plays or if he's healthy or not. So,
Yep. He's one of those POS guys, so
yeah.
we'll just leave it at that, you know. Yeah, like it was kind of an unfortunate good riddance for you, but hopefully Jameis does well.
Yeah,
But
I
yeah, it's
really
very
hope he's a funny character. I really
yeah.
like him too, because like when he wins too, like I give an interview, and I live for that, because he's
Oh,
always saying something that's just so out of mind. And I was like, how does he even think of that? His analogies he comes up with.
is he just a character now? Does he just
He really is.
is he
Yeah.
just that he knows it and so he's just I'm just gonna go for it.
Yeah. Tries to be motivational, but he just says the goofiest things. So yeah, he's all right. I don't mind him. I think he's pretty good.
No. You know, I remember when he was coming out and there was like the stuff against him because he had stolen the crab legs or something. And I think he even did something unfortunate with like a taxi driver too, like didn't treat a
Yeah.
guy very well or something like that. But yeah, it was like he stole the crab legs in college, but he's like, I had no money, like no. But I can't, you can't believe that kind of stuff. I'm like the amount of money these guys make now. I know there's no more there wasn't NIL at that point, but you know these kids were making some sort of money, so you can't say that. But yeah, he's definitely turned it like a 180 from when he first came into the league and the stuff that was going against him. But at least it wasn't like domestic violence or rape or molestation,
Exactly.
you
Yeah. He can,
know.
he can be stupid. He's not
Right.
hurting other people's lives. So yeah,
Right,
take
exactly.
that
I'm
guy.
with you
We're
on
all a little
that.
stupid. We just don't make
Uh,
the news for it because we're not millionaires.
yeah, exactly. But yeah, I'm hoping he does well. But I thought it was weird that he was the emergency backup. He wasn't even the starter. And someone made a comment like, does somebody write these scripts? Because it was like the first week he was not the backup, the actual backup. And it made it feel, when that was the case, it made it feel like they were getting too much put Jameis in that they just made him not even on the team. Do you know if that makes any sense?
Yeah.
And because then they put DTR. DTR sucks. That dude is never going to be an NFL quarterback again. Like that guy, it does not have it. So let's stop trying to do this. And Jameis actually has shown that he can throw the ball. Like let's give him an opportunity, and he'll have it this week. So we'll find out. All right. We do have week seven's in the books. So here's kind of where we are after week seven. Um, Sam and I still at the top, even after all the shit talking. We both lost last
Mhm.
week, but we both got W's this week. So we're still up there. And the ESPN Power Rankings actually have Sam at number one, not me. But Sam, I'm number one, so I don't. I don't know what they think, but they're wrong, Sam. I'm number one. But yeah, so they have Sam at the top of that. But 6-1. So I'm at the top of the East, 6-1. Your dad's right behind me at 5-2, and then we have a major dip after that. Then Zach is now below 500 at 3-4. You're at 2-5. We'll get to the stats though here in a moment.
Yeah.
We'll get to that because that's an unfair 2-5. Glenn's at 2-5, and then Allison 0-7. That's a rough one. And then in the West, a little more parity with Sam still at the top at 6-1, but yeah, Cases Aces at 5-2. Beat the Swifties at 4-3, even though they're the top scoring team in this league. EJ at 4-3 as well. Tyler at 3-4, and then Andy at the bottom at 2-5. But his team's turning it around, and he's starting to score some points. So a
Yeah.
lot of stuff
Well,
going on there.
that's always I mean, we're still pretty early in, halfway through. I don't really start paying attention to how people are really doing and who's getting subbed in until, I say it's week 10 is when you really got to start looking at the overall ability of these teams. And then
Agreed.
of course injuries take place, and but these early season injuries are just so crazy because you have so many of them, and they're just some of them are just so bad too. But
Yeah.
I think it all kind of levels out. You know who's coming back and who's not around week 10. You kind of just do another reassumption of how the teams are looking and stuff, and they kind of figure it out a little bit. I think week 10 is a
Yeah.
pretty good week to start
And to your
actually.
point, it's early, right? It's like it's still early. While it might not feel it for some people, like even Allison, I'll move our box over. She still has playoff like chances. I know it's only at 2%, but think about it. If her team's starting to look better, and if she can get, I bet if she can get to like 6 wins, so 6 of the next 7, if she can win that, she's probably in the playoffs. Eight of the 12 make it, and I guarantee the number 8 seed is probably not at 500. They're probably below 500. So if she can get to that 6 and 8 mark on the year, she has a chance to be in it, right? So
Yeah, I'm
to
not even safe at 43%,
well,
I'm tied for the fourth slot really to not make it. So
yeah,
we start
but
stepping it up a little bit here.
But it's not how you draft. You get these thoughts of who's going to be good in your draft, and then you go from there. But it's how you manage it afterwards. All these injuries, all these things that happen. Where's your depth at? That's one of the things I'm worried about. I'm at the top, but my depth. Oh my God, when we go to our matchup this week, I think I have one of the lowest projections. Like it ain't not I've made this trade specifically, it ain't there. So there's how the teams are shaping up. It's very funny. In a different league I'm in, it's I'm 3-4, so I'm not, but I feel much better about my team than I do probably right now with this team in its current state at the moment. I'm like, I'm hoping I can eke out one more victory by the time CMC can come back. I'm hoping he comes back. Like, come on, son. Now I need you because I made this trade, man. I need you back. Um, but stats wise, you have Bob at the very top at 866 points on the year. Man, he's got the team. He's putting up a lot of points. I'm second at 838, so we're only two at 800. But while you're down there at number 9, you're third in points.
I know
You
I'm
know,
third in points for, and I'm third in points against. So I'm consistently right. It's consistent. I can't complain because I'm up there with scoring points. But yeah, when you go out there and you get second score of the week, and the only one that beats you is first,
yeah,
it's rough. It's damn.
brutal. It is brutal. So, as you said, stay the course from your perspective because you have the horses that are doing it. You can't play defense. You can play a defense, you can't play defense, and so
Yeah.
therefore you just got to keep putting your best squad out there, and it'll round itself out. Things have a way of working themselves out with these rosters, but. We did the waiver wire. We did that stuff. Find a trade. Really, these are the times that you got to assess your team and say, do I need depth or do I have depth and I need to upgrade, right? Because there are teams out there that can help you upgrade, and there are teams out there that can help you get some depth on your team to maybe even out the score a little bit more to help you out. So good luck to everybody. But yeah, this is where we stand so far, and uh still, Louis leading the way with moves, 25 of them suckers. He's got 25 moves on the year, but Bob's right behind him at 19. So him and Bob are real active. And then next is actually Andy. So Andy's actually next at 13. So
Mhm.
kind of interesting. But it's just funny that Louis is at 25 and the third place guy for it is at is half 13. So Louis is making the moves, making moves. And none of them are trades, by the way. So
Yeah. Well, he's up at 3 looking at the waiver wire. He's doing all this research.
yeah, that's why. That's why he's making all those moves. Oh my gosh. Well, let's see what this coming week has for us, Kyle. What do you say?
Yep.
All right, let me bring us down, flatten us out here so we can actually see what's happening. And we'll start off with a couple 2-5 teams. So who gets their third W this week? What do you think, Kyle? Which one gets their third win on the week?
Oh, well, I mean, the analytics here aren't looking too good for Glenn, but you never know. You really never know.
No, you don't. Like, so let's just help Glenn out by saying Andy's going to get the victory this week. That's what it's saying.
Yeah. Well, I mean,
Glenn
I'd
will.
say anything can happen, but Debo's probably going to go for 35 points against Dallas, even being hurt because they're soft. So that's not going to help him very much.
He's going to do a Michael Jordan game, the Michael
Yeah,
Jordan illness
he
game.
go nuts. Yeah.
Uh, well, Glenn will have Chase Brown to fill in for Jaleel McLaughlin at least, or one of those guys. So I know Chase is in that double-digit projection for him. So at least be able to fill in, get a little bit closer on that projection with his new pickup of Chase Brown at least. But I agree, man. I think it's gonna be an uphill battle for Glenn to really take that home. He's just been decimated with injury, so. And like I said, we'll see if Debo has that Michael Jordan illness game. We'll see. Next up, we have Louis and Bob. I mean, really, it's a battle of the teams making the most moves. I put the battle of
Yep.
top teams because they are top teams. They're one second in the East, the other's third in the West. But one's the top scoring team in the league with Bob, who's at 4-3, and Louis at 5-2. So big time matchup here and big time projections. I think this is the highest projected total of the week. Anything that you have to say as far as like who might be able to take this home?
It's yeah, that's a really good matchup. I mean,
Yeah,
Barkley and Mixon did very well last week, so they very well could go for 21 again. I mean, I don't see
yeah.
it going. I mean, but Phil, yeah,
Since he's not a good
that,
defense,
that's that's
I
a
think
really
that
good matchup. That's one that I'm definitely gonna be paying attention to.
yeah, Cincy's not a good defense, and what I will say is at least Louis has T. Higgins on his side in that same kind of matchup, so he might be able if it's a high scoring affair that could work out. But I just want to know is Cleveland usually has a good defense. It's a divisional battle, so can Cleveland hold Lamar in check? Can they? He's projected for 28.5. He's averaging 32. Can they
Yeah,
keep
yeah,
Lamar to more like that 20 to 25 range, and that might help Bob get this victory if they can do that.
yeah.
So,
Well, he very well might. I mean, Lamar's been kind of carrying him, getting averaging 32. I've seen him twice with over 40.
dude, and if you watch him play, he just looks in control. Like it looks
Yeah,
like he is doing what he wants, even when he's scrambling. I mean, he's making great moves. I'm always amazed at athletes like that can like do that plus make throws. I mean, he's looking downfield. He's not always looking to run. He really isn't looking to run, but then he finds his spots where he knows he's going to run. So it's very interesting. But yeah, we'll have to see how this goes. But this will be a really nice matchup, and I think we'll all be watching this one. Next up, I call this one the Catalina Wine Mixer because we got stepbrothers going against each other this week. Casey, second in the West at 5-2, while his projection is much lower than Zach. I think Zach has the highest projected total on the week. Um, but Zach's had a rough go of it as of late. He's not been hitting his projection as of late, which is tough. Like if you actually look at his projection of 127 compared to what the average is of those players at 111, that's where it gets kind of tough. But it all depends on is Jonathan Taylor back, like Dr. Sam said, and if he is back, does he have a dip like Dr. Sam said in production? We don't know.
yeah.
What do
Well,
you see?
I'm hoping Garrett Wilson and Devontae Adams do really good because that would mean that my quarterback's doing very good as well. So I hope both of them do great. Um,
But are you normally rolling with Aaron Rodgers? Like, who have you been rolling with before
I
that?
mean, yeah, I had Stafford with Dak, and then I think the 1 week I played Stafford, he did worse than Dak. So I went back
Okay.
to Dak, and then Dak had gotten me 3 points 2 weeks ago. So I played Rodgers, and they couldn't get anything done either. So I'm gonna stick with Rodgers now that he's got Adams again. I
Yeah.
hope they get the little bromance back going on, and they get some real points going because I'm Dallas is ain't it ain't doing it. Dallas is, they I don't know what they're doing over there, but that's why I named my team named the Jerry Jones Hate Club because wow, what are we doing getting embarrassed out there?
Oh my
So
God. He needs to stop trying to be the GM. Like, I swear to God,
he
that
just
guy
needs
try.
to he needs to just cool it. They had that video of him showing up to the practice. He flew in on his helicopter. Did you see that? Came and landed
No.
on the practice field. He came and flew in his private helicopter. And yeah, the first comment was, "But we couldn't afford Derrick Henry." So yeah, okay,
So
uh,
true. Oh my
yeah.
God.
So I mean, well, that's a good thing though. Henry's doing a lot better on the Ravens, and I hate to see someone come to the Cowboys and die. So just too terrible. They really could have used him with the running game, but they've got so much more going on. I mean, Derrick Henry can't save the Cowboys, so.
No, that's a tough one. And for Casey, I mean, we'll see if Daniels even plays. I don't know if he will. But I think the tough part is if he plays, he's playing Chicago. And that's one of the best defenses in the country or in the NFL. Obviously, also the country because the NFL is only in this country, but still, I made that sound like it was a college game right there. But so we'll see how that goes. Or otherwise, he might need to be finding himself another QB as well. So we'll see how that goes. But I agree. Well, the Jets will be better, and I will say if their defense sucks again, that is a more reason why they're going to have to throw the ball and get Devontae Adams the rock as well, and they'll find that too. He'll have more than the 3 catches for 30 yards this coming week. All right, next up is your team, which what I noticed on here is that Jerry Jones is hated so much that they don't even show his icon on here. It doesn't
No, no,
it
no
doesn't
personal
show up.
pictures on there,
I
man.
know it's so funny because it
That's a great
shows up.
picture too.
It shows up in the app, but when I actually go to get all these cuts, like you'll notice it doesn't show it whenever, like, I don't know why, and I don't do it. It's not me doing it. It's just that's how bad it is. But you both are fourth. You and EJ are both fourth in your divisions. You both are scoring really well. This is another really close, high projected total. What's got you excited and what might have you worried?
I mean, I just, Cincinnati, maybe hopefully they make it a game to where Philadelphia has to throw the ball.
Yeah,
I need them to throw the ball more. And yeah, here we go. I'm gonna say that, and then it's all gonna go to AJ Brown, and it's not gonna go in my favor. So, but I'm really hoping because I mean it's Smith. I mean, for him to have the terrible week that he had.
ugh,
I mean, he had point three. I think he had a one reception for minus
negative
three
two
yards.
yards. Yeah,
Yeah, that was terrible. But I mean, with Rodgers and I hope Adams and at least Wilson or something kind of wakes him up a little bit. I know Rodgers is pretty. He's getting there. I don't know
yeah,
what kind of painkillers he's taking on his off days. I mean, he went out there on the Rogan podcast and said he was on opioids and stuff all the time, and he's getting all drugged up for the games. I mean, he's getting kind of old, but I think he's all right still. He like the
yeah.
last one of my generation really is still playing. So
I
and then
hate him.
Flacco keeps coming back and leaving again too. So I don't know what his deal is. I ought to pick him up. I wish I could get him. He's like the
I
miracle.
Yeah, I think Rogers is a douchebag. I just hate him because I think he likes to blame. I think he likes to blame everybody else but himself, and so it gets
Absolutely. He
irritating.
definitely got that coach fired. I mean, yeah, they made that
Yeah,
they tried to make it as discreet as possible, but that's not a discreet thing to do. But all I'm gonna say is Rodgers is better than Dak. I mean,
yeah,
I would think the Jets would I think the Jets would even beat the Cowboys. I really do. So
yeah, and
I'm
I
not gonna
agree.
play Dak.
And New England's not a great defense right now. That we always think they're going to be, and they actually haven't been. But an interesting part that you may not have noticed is like you guys have the top two tight ends in our league, and they're going against each other.
Mm.
Kittle's always questionable, so he's going to play. But so we'll see how that goes. And Dallas'
I'm hoping it
defense is
goes
already
well. I'm hoping he cuts through Dallas' secondary because I'm really hoping he does.
And without Ayuk and a not healthy Debo, they're going to rely on Kittle a lot.
Yeah.
And so I think, that kind of leans that way. And for Brock Bowers on the other side, him against Kansas City. Kansas City's got a great defense. They're going to focus on that man. Like I'm even debating if I play. I have the other league I'm in. There's no tight end or wide receiver, but I've rolled him out there like every week the past few weeks because he's just been great. And I'm a little concerned. So I like your matchup for Kittle more than Brock because what Kansas City will do against Vegas is basically shut down Bowers and say beat us with somebody else. I just know that that's just how they run, and they're an aggressive defense. So I'm thinking this will not be a good game for Bowers. That's kind of where I'm
Yeah.
going.
And I don't know if I'm going to play. I think I changed it. I don't know how long ago you put the president. I think it was earlier today. I changed my. I don't know if I sat Dell for Lazard or
Oh, okay.
I don't know if I put Lazard in either with knowing that Adams is over there, but I definitely took the Bills out because there's no reason to play Walker against the Bills, and I got them. I'm on the waivers. The Saints got to go, so we'll see if I
Yeah.
get what I want for my defense. But
Yeah, I can see you changing that because I put that as a note too of Kenneth Walker going against your defense. And normally I don't care as much about the running back. I mean, I do and I don't. I more care about quarterback against the defense. But because Kenneth Walker is so impactful for
yeah,
Seattle and such a
he's
big part of
one of my
that,
best guys.
yeah,
So
and I think that's very smart. And for Dell, you got Rodgers, so why not put Lazard out there? Dell hasn't done shit for you, but they're going against the Colts. The Colts suck, so it's like, yeah, that gets to be tough too. But
yeah.
good luck this week. I think this will be another close one, but I feel like your tight ends will decide it in the end.
There's a lot of them that just, oh yeah, it's going to be a good one.
No,
I think it's gonna be I think it's gonna be a high scoring game. So
it will be. So that'll be interesting because both of your teams are performing well right now. Two teams that really aren't going to perform well are the top two teams in our league, which is me and Sam. I mean, I got to be honest. Like I just look at it like, hey, like for me, I made that trade. I knew what it meant. It meant, hey, I'm okay with taking some L's, I'll say, coming up because I don't like Deontay Johnson against Denver, especially if Patrick Surtain is back, which he should be. It was a concussion last week time, but I think he'll be back. So I don't like that matchup already, but I don't really have much else. I mean, I have to throw Romeo Dobbs in there as another wide receiving option. So plus Shaheed is out for me for the season, other stuff. So I got to figure that out, and I will not be playing the Colts defense against Houston because I just don't. I only have the Colts. I mean, they worked out for me this past week, but they're not a good D. So I got to make a change there. And on his side, God, Calvin Ridley has sucked with freaking Will Levis. I have him in another league and I hate it. I can't play him. I just can't play him. And I'm scared about Burrow. I think Burrow against Philly is going to score some points, and their defense is not so great, and so like
yep.
especially secondary. So I think that Burrow comes back after a tough game against Cleveland that has a good defense, and I think he continues to light up easy defenses. And
Well, he's been
I
doing good. They just haven't been winning. So no one's been looking at Burrow this season, but he's actually
right,
been pretty good. I mean,
dude, he's number three quarterback in our league. Look at that. I
yeah.
mean, he's been great. So I am concerned on that end. And with Tua, if Tua comes back, Tyreek Hill becomes a greater option, and so is Devon Achane. So I think he has a lot of things on the upward swing, whereas for myself, I feel like I have things more on the downward swing. But like you've said multiple times, this is the NFL, and it can go all sorts of ways. So we'll see how this ends up. But the top two teams tussle, as the headline says, and so we'll see who ends up with their second loss after this coming week. Hope you lose, Sam. All right, the final one is Tyler at 3-4 going up against Allison at 0-7. At some point, she has to win
It's
again.
gotta happen, right? The stars have to align here at some point.
At some point, she had
Oh,
such a
yeah.
good game this past week. I just I felt for her because it just was rough. But do you think she's gonna pull it out this week?
Well, I mean, I'm not really sure here. I mean, I always see Stephon Diggs actually waking up and doing something, but he hasn't been. So, I
No.
mean, Stroud and Diggs. I mean, that's a good combination right there. If Houston just decided to play.
Yeah. But he
Um,
gets Swift back as well. And Brees Hall against New England. I think he has some good matchups on Tyler's side. And the best matchup of all, man, is that Broncos defense. They did not have their best defensive player in Patrick Surtain last week, who is potentially a defensive player of the year candidate. He is a defensive player of the year candidate. They didn't have him, and they still scored 21 points. Like, and now they're facing Carolina, who's like the worst friggin' team.
yep,
So I can
yep.
only imagine they're going to stop them. So that projection of 7-7, I'm putting them at 15. So just add another 7 points to his projection already.
Yeah, and I might play a different defense besides the Browns this week too. I don't know.
Yeah, I
Yeah.
don't exactly. I don't think she wants to face Lamar Jackson, so that's be. And I'd almost say Brock Purdy. Well, yeah, against Dallas, they haven't been a great defense, but he's now missing Ayuk. He has a banged up Debo with the illness. With it's not just a regular illness; it's pneumonia. I mean, that's impacting your ability to play snaps. And so does he have the weapons with Brock Purdy? I don't know. Yeah, it's just a tough one, man. A real tough one on that side. But good news is Javante goes up against Carolina. Hopefully, he has another good week this week. Pickens against the Giants with Russell Wilson throwing the ball. Hopefully, that'll be better. So we will see. But man, it's been a tough one. I feel for you, Allison. But good job, Tyler. He's coming back. Like he's made a comeback after 2 years in the FFFL, and it's been rough. He's starting to reap the benefits this year. So nice job, Tyler. And that wraps us up this week, man. So good luck to everybody in week 8. I mean, I hope all goes well for everybody. I really do. Um, but except for Sam, I don't want it to go well for Sam. Um, but Kyle, I appreciate you being on the podcast. I appreciate you waiting it out with me and being such a good sport about stuff. This one went longer because of my cold opening, so thank you for rolling with that too. I appreciate it.
No problem.
Any
It's good to be
any
here.
any parting words for the FFFL?
No, well, besides, yeah, good luck to everybody. I hope you do well. Not too well. I guys hope your players kind of, slow down a little bit. Just start getting just what they're projected and not much more. It's only the ones that I face though. So yeah,
I
wish you
love
well
it.
and good
It's like
luck. And
Joe
yeah.
Flacco last night was on the Manning cast, and they were talking about basically like about rooting for teams, and I think because it was the Ravens, and he's obviously quarterback for them, and he was basically saying he's like he's like I hope every team loses, like except for the Colts. Like I root for one team, so I hope all 31 other teams lose that week. Like that's what he said. I
The
was
way
like,
to
that's
do
a
it,
great way
yeah.
to put it.
You root for the other guy, I don't hope nothing bad happens to you, but I also hope you lose. So
Yeah. Hope you stay healthy but lose at the same
yeah,
time. Let's make it that. But thanks again, Kyle. I really
of
do
course.
appreciate it, man. Good luck to you this week against EJ. And again, FFFL, take care of yourself, fam, this week. Stay healthy, everybody else out there. Get your vitamin C in you. We're doing that over here, so I hope all else are doing that over there.
Mhm.
All right. Peace out, Rocco. Good to see
Yep.
you at the end, bud. Good to see you, man. All right. Thanks again, Kyle.
Yep. Bye.
Peace.